Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about sourcing leads through LinkedIn or prospecting through LinkedIn and some of the do's and don'ts and how ultimately we can position ourselves with a bit more credibility and sound like an expert. Before we do, let's remember what LinkedIn is. Now, the perception amongst some salespeople is that it's this giant marketplace where you've got your little market stall set up and you're trying to sell your product to people. Well, it's not really like that at all. Its number one function isn't to sell people anything. And I think salespeople often forget that, particularly from some of the emails that I get in, or the emails I should say. What it actually is almost like a big party. Yeah? So consider it like most, social channels or social media sites, is that it's a big party where everyone there is interacting, communicating, learning from each other, getting value through communicating. And when you're at a party, if someone starts selling you something at a party, it's really uncomfortable and a bit jarring, and no one really wants that, to be perfectly honest with you. We've got to leverage a couple of really important skills to start engaging people about the potential of offering our product. And again, let's keep in mind that idea of a party. The people who are the most interesting, who have interesting things to say, and they're interested in what you've got to say, are the ones that we typically gravitate around. And that's the person you want to be at this particular party, which happens to be LinkedIn. So let's talk about the first example. And here's a couple of emails that I've had, and I've kept them purely anonymous, but I'm not trying to shame anyone here, of what not to do when it comes to trying to source prospects or source leads from LinkedIn. Okay, so we're going to walk through a couple of examples of what I deem to be really, really, really bad LinkedIn engagement. And the first one we're going to look at, and let's keep this completely anonymous, this isn't about shaming people, as I said before, is this one here. Now think about how you'd feel as the person receiving this LinkedIn email when it comes through to you. Hi Aaron, this company are helping enterprise sales teams to engage throughout the cycle by harnessing personalized video content. I have no idea what that means off the bat. It's so confusing. Check out the overview here, call to action after a sentence. They want me to do something for them after one sentence. And not just that, you couldn't be bothered to tell me what you do, so you've put a video link in there. This bit's quite interesting. We have a free webinar our company's running. It might be of interest to you. Here's the date. And if you can't catch it, we can always send you it, which I quite like, that they're trying to give me something first, which is a great start. Here's something free that's going to add value to you. That's really helpful. But then it sort of goes off tracks and it starts talking about them constantly. At this company, we work with 250 organizations globally to empower them to shoot cost-effective content with a turnaround of 24 hours and create animations, design events, and podcasts. No relevance to me whatsoever. I don't use any of this in my job. Now more than ever, we're becoming a valuable video solution. Good for you. I'm really proud of you. That's amazing. Where we're helping customers through this difficult time. Then a call to action. If you'd like to sync up, we can have a chat about your strategic priorities for the rest of 2020. Please let me know when this may work for you. So again, think about what you're doing here is you're just bombarding me with a link, bombarding me with you, talking about you, and then going, if you can find the value, if you can sort of, create the value yourself, here's a way of getting in touch with me. There's two call to actions in there without any value being built for me. And straight away I'm sitting there going, I don't know what you do. It's great that you're offering me a webinar, but I don't see how relevant it is at the moment. And then you just want a load of stuff from me while talking about yourself incessantly. That's not how you engage people. Now think about this as the party. You're sitting there, you're having a drink, nice martini, you're now having a chat, and then some dude walks over to you and starts going, here's what we do, here's what we do, here's what I do, here's what I do. It's brilliant, it's brilliant, brilliant. Do you want to go for a drink? And you'll be like, no, mate, that's really, really weird. And that's exactly what's happening here with this email. The second one is actually a little bit more typical of what we'd see from LinkedIn. It's just a copy and paste job, right? This person's just put this together, probably sent it to 1 million people in the hope that one of them lands and they go, oh, that sounds interesting. But look, hi Aaron, I wanted to connect, and look at the length of the sentence. I wanted to connect, and we've been working with a couple of sales directors on a product to help crowdsource leads directly from employees or existing customers, don't know what that means. Be great to connect it. That could be a relevant approach for yourselves. Kind regard to this person's name. Again, you're basically saying that here's sort of conceptually something we do. Try and see if you can fit the value around it so we can have a meeting. No, mate. It makes no sense to me. I'm not getting any value out of this. You're basically saying, I'm a salesperson. Can you help me? Can you help me make more deals? No, I'm busy. I've got stuff to be getting on with. So look, I'm not here just to ridicule poor LinkedIn outreach, but I think this is a lesson here is a couple of tips that we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be just talking about ourselves. We shouldn't be asking the customers to fit the value around what they do. Try and squeeze the value in. And lastly, we shouldn't be copy and pasting the same email, which has clearly happened here and probably in the previous one as well. And asking for a call to action without building any value, it's dangerous. It's the quickest way of making you not sound like an expert and sound like a salesperson who's just desperate to hit their target. So let's look at some good examples and some best practices that are actually going to drive the right type of performance. So let's talk about something called gives. This is really important. Gives are precisely that. These are things that you give to a prospect without asking for anything in return. You add value through the credibility, the knowledge, and the expertise that you have. So if you've created a white paper, or you've created a bit of information, or you've created an article within your company, or even if you've not done that, but you've seen one that's quite interesting, you should be forwarding snippets of that to customers saying, hey, saw this really interesting article around sales enablement the other day. Here's a snippet from it. Let me know if you want the full report. I'll ping it over for no cost. And all of a sudden, you're engaging customers through education. You're giving them something without asking for anything back. Now, here's a really good example. This came through from a company that happens to be a content management system, which at the time we were looking for, funnily enough. And again, this is how serendipitous sales is that you may not be looking for that company, but when someone engages you with the right bit of content, it becomes really interesting. So someone just pinged me this through, thought you'd find this blog potentially useful when thinking about your SE program internally at Global Data, which is the company that I work for. Here's a load of information. Here's a really cool link. I hope this proves to be insightful. All the best. And then the person's name. Now, this is the thing, right? They've not turned around and gone, here's some content. Can we book a meeting? They've turned around and gone, here's a blog post. Let me know what you think. I hope it's useful for you. They're not asking for anything in return. So they're educating me. And I was like, this is really cool. I remember reading it thinking, this is actually really fascinating, really useful stuff. And I actually stole something out of it and put it in a report internally for our business. So straight away, they'd added value and created credibility. And I remembered this person's name. And then they came back to me again with more information. And then eventually the timing was perfect. And I was like, do you know what? I'd really want to see the product. Can we book a meeting? And we booked a meeting in which actually sat last week or the week before. Now, the reason this was so successful is because they weren't asking for anything. They were giving me loads of stuff. And the stuff they were giving me was a really high quality. So the value that they were adding to my job made complete and utter sense when it came to me picking the right product, that this was the product that we wanted. Now, think about it like this. 3 gives for 1 get. If you give someone something 3 times in a row, then you've earned the right to turn around and go, do you know what? Let's talk about this. Because clearly this is something that's of interest to you. Let's grab 15 minutes and have a virtual coffee and talk about not even how we can help. I just want to learn about what you guys are doing. Now, this is really interesting because what do I think of this guy when he sends me through this stuff? Hey, our business has created this incredible piece of collateral. Here it is for free. And I come back and go, have you got any more of that? Yeah, there's loads more. Here you go. Have a look through these reports. These are quite interesting as well. And then all of a sudden, they've educated me not only about their products, but about what's going on in the market. And they seem like experts. They're credible in what they're trying to achieve. So first things first, they're not talking about themselves. They're talking about interesting topics that are going on. Second of all, there's not a call to action. He's not saying to me, I'll give you this, I want something in return. He's just saying, I thought this would be really useful for you. And that's what, like the party, right? What the party should be like. Engaging each other with conversation and making sure that you're adding value to the conversation, sounding interested and credible, and then more people want to talk to you. So this chap here did a fantastic job and booked a demo through it, and potentially is gonna win the deal as well. Now, again, let's think about this. 3 gives for every get. So give them something 3 times. Don't sit there and go, yeah, we don't create any content. I don't care. Go out there and find interesting content and send them snippets of it that are relevant to their job title, their company, their competitors, or the market that they're working in at that time, or where they're product servicing. And then you're engaging them with something interesting. And you're increasing the chance of thinking of you as a credible source, not just an annoying salesperson who's copy and pasted an email and sent it through to them just to get a sale or just to get a meeting. So the point of this is really simple. Always remember, LinkedIn is a party. It's not a marketplace. And if you want to be the popular guy or gal at the party, make sure you're adding value with credibility and having decent conversations that make people want to come back. And then once you've built that trust, once you've built that credibility, you've earned the right to ask for something. As always, guys, remember to subscribe, like, share any tips or comments. You can follow me on LinkedIn, and happy selling.